Spook,
What?
do you have them yet?
Have what?
Your grand final tickets.
Which grand final?
We lost by a goal to Sydney. We drew with Hawthorn. We're back, people are telling me.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back from where? Are we back from the brink to take another swig?
Off the back of a draw and a loss. How much better can it get?
Winning?
Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I'm Sly.
And I'm bitterly fucking disappointed, Spook.
Cool. I'm glad there's some anger. Still, 2 days later.
Yes, get into your anger.
Who was that? Was that Eddie Maguire?
That was Emperor Tontine.
Tontine. Going into this game, I was just telling you out in the green room.
We got a green room?
Yep.
Well, it's more yellow than green.
I was weirdly optimistic. I was at dinner with people and I was saying, well, what do you think? I actually think we'll win. And they were like, are you shitting us? And I was like, no, I just had a good feeling. I think that was probably encouraged by the fact that
Maybe it was the Thai food.
No, it was also that Darcy Cameron wasn't playing. He might have played that second half. Hang on, no, sorry. So, I actually felt we generally match up well against them.
Oh, you and I?
Yeah, and then credit to McRae for the way he structured the side, that he held the corridor and he kept pushing them wide, but we didn't follow them. So whenever they tried to come back in, we were there waiting. So he structured that part of the side well. We dominated the first quarter, 5-2 to 1-4.
First quarter was fucking superb.
But even the second quarter, so we kicked 1-7.
Did we?
Yeah. So
do you have to tell people that? Do you think they didn't fucking notice?
I don't think they did, because I think people are running around congratulating Collingwood for being great enough to lose by a goal.
You want to take it a little bit further? I think before we kicked our next goal, the tally was at 1-10. Unless I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Into the third?
Could be, but... And I thought in the second quarter, it started to shift when Buller started rucking more. McRae was probably trying to hold Steen, spare him, keep him, or not gas him.
No, he ended up gassing him.
Oh, well, that's tragic, but I thought, because I think there's going to be a big part of this rant, is the way McRae used the ruck was criminal.
Yep, totally agree.
I think Steen, obviously, Buller was getting killed really early. I thought the logical thing would have been, look, don't play 2 kids in the ruck. And then when you throw Long in, you're now playing 3 kids in the ruck. I mean, Long's only 21, 22. He's not a ruck. I don't know if people have noticed.
I think he pretty much ensured that he'll never fucking do it again.
But logically, you would have to go to McStay. Straight away. And not even like after Steen went down. Surely McStay should have been the relief ruck. I don't know if McRae didn't want Buller and West both in the forward 50. I don't know if he thought that was too inexperienced. I mean, West was tragically, positive. So,
I mean, what were they going to do? Miss shots?
Yeah. So I thought that was a big fuck up, because even before Steen went down, when Buller went in, it really started to shift. And the way Grundy plays, and we saw this at Collingwood. Now, look, maybe this is strange, because I've noticed he's been better since Dean Cox has been coach at Sydney, and obviously Cox was a champion ruckman himself. But I would have just said to McStay, look, I don't mind if you give away a few frees, just get in his head, because he is, from historically, not a difficult player to put off his game. Just start wrestling him a little bit, run him to him a couple of times. Yep. He doesn't like that. Start fucking with him. Instead, you sacrifice Buller, who, it's like when Frampton a couple of years ago was starting to play okay as a defender, and then they threw him in the ruck. It's like, geez, Buller's had a couple of encouraging weeks, and then you're throwing him in the ruck to fucking carry a really big load this game. It's like, that should be McStay, surely.
I would have thought so. I would have thought it was that fucking obvious it was giving me the absolute shits that it didn't happen. It didn't happen, I don't think, until the very fucking end of the last.
And I'm going to say that he did that at the end shows he realised this wasn't working 2 quarters too late.
But Grundy was visibly laughing, I think, but every time Long just couldn't stand next to him. He let him fucking run off. Grundy was just doing as he pleased. I think that action itself led to about 2 or 3 fucking goals.
And the thing that pissed me off too, we pointed this out a lot. The amount of throw-ins that dropped short and just allowed Grundy to play that game that he loves playing, which is running on.
And then that two-handed fist.
Yeah. Is like, why wouldn't you... one of the coaches here, why wouldn't you say, go stand 5 metres in front of him, start 5 metres in front of him, and you know what? Just stop, and then he's going to run into you, and it's going to probably be a push in the back to you. Or potentially a block. Who the fuck knows how they ruck it? But
actually, I wouldn't probably bring any decisions into this conversation because the umpiring was fucking shithouse.
Oh, it was terrible, but...
So I wouldn't rely on that strategy having an impact from a free.
The umpiring was appalling, but in terms of like what was equally appalling was McRae's handling of the ruck.
Yeah, no. We didn't lose the game because of the umpiring. I'll point that out before it gets angry.
No, look, I never blame the umpiring because all you can do is all you can do. And it's like you have no control of that. So control what you can control, which is who you put in the fucking ruck, for one. That's a really big thing. And I think they massively fucked that up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, once Stephen went down, I thought McStay's got to go into the ruck.
Yeah.
And
look, he wasn't going to win too many hitouts or anything, but he could have physically imposed himself on that ruck contest. Grundy just had right away to do whatever.
That's exactly the point. McStay would have won the ruck, but he might have nullified Grundy's influence.
Oh, it fucking killed me that didn't happen.
And then even doing something like, if you're going to persevere with Buller and Long, just say, you know what, let Grundy run to it. Let's now start zoning to what he does because he's predictable when he does his shit, Grundy. So start crying to him knowing he's going to fucking win. It was really the most moronic coaching I've seen since, I don't know. Trying to think of, some other examples which I've seen. It was just incredibly moronic to persevere with it. And when Steen went down, he just exacerbated by relying on Buller. And it wasn't until Buller and Long, and it wasn't until he started to realise, I don't think this is working for us. And then he changed it extremely late. And to McStay's credit, I think McStay did a little bit better than the other two, given the limited time he was in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that have been commenting on the forums and stuff that you couldn't move McStay because that would have disrupted the structure. And you think, well, fucking McStay can get his hands near the ball. The ball was coming nowhere near him. What were you taking out of that structure at that time?
Well,
at least he might have got some fucking touches in the ruck.
Yeah, I mean, that's a crock of shit. Look, no disrespect to McStay, but it's not fucking Anthony Rocker holding up centre forward.
No.
So, and look, at the worst, which I wouldn't have liked to do, fucking just throw Frampton in there for 10 minutes. Just change it up. Even if it's like, you know what, let's fucking play all 4 of them on Grundy, rotate them every minute or so, and just fucking give Grundy a working over until he's starting to feel sorry for himself, and then you can get away with bloody playing Bull in the ruck. It was just, there was no plan B, no plan C, no plan D. There was nothing but, oh, shit, Grundy's going to win these taps. Let's just accept it.
Yeah, that's the only conclusion you can come to because there was no reactionary moves made.
I mean, what did McRae say to Grundy when the Grundy ran right past him?
Yes, you're all right. You'd be good in our team. Well, hang on. Aren't we still paying for him? Technically, he is.
I think we finished it last year.
Did we? We should ask for a refund.
So what do you think he actually said? What could he possibly have said, McRae?
I have no fucking idea. I did see there was a tweet that said, caption this, and I'm looking at it going, you can't.
McRae said it was a respectful thing in the press conference.
I didn't watch the press conference, so so someone asked the question, what was asked?
Yeah, and he goes, oh, no, we'll still before respect. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Grundy didn't respond, so I don't know.
Maybe he was asking to let Ned Long win one.
While we're sort of like, I'll just go to Long quickly. We're going to persevere with this defensive half forward. So now you're playing him Blakey, because Blakey's not that quick, so that was a good move.
Mm.
These are really baffling moves, and it's almost like he has an allegiance to players. He just doesn't want to.
No, and I think there's a lot in that too. You see with team selection, and obviously this week everyone can count it. We had about 18 kids under the age of 12 playing, etc., etc. But generally, he'll always lean to his version of experience / perceived experience to go and put the most settled side he can out there. And at the moment, I don't think Ned's part of that, but he's not going anywhere. And you had to have Lipinski get concussion from combing his hair too hard to get him out of that side. And did you miss anything from? Did you at any point in the game did you go, yeah, Lipinski would have done that, or Lipinski would have got that?
No. I think I don't think Ryan still was good or even
He kicked a
decent.
goal.
Yeah, no, great.
But that's why we have him in there.
He sort of came in at the very end, but what I thought Ryan still showed is there's no room for him and Lipinski. I'm going to piss off people too because this is killing me. That I actually said this last week. Watch what Dan Houston does when he doesn't have the ball. Did you enjoy what he did when he didn't have the ball?
No, he pulled out of a couple of contests. So.
He cost several goals where he just did not attack the contest.
Mm.
And there was times where we just sort of like, they wouldn't have got a goal if he just fucking hit that contest hard.
But how many times do you need to do something wrong to know that it's wrong? You're playing him in the wrong position. He's not a defender. He just doesn't have the heart for it. Free run, accurate kicks. That's his one wood. That's all he's got.
Well, he had one great kick, and I think that was it. And I'm sure someone will tell me how great he was again.
But when they're not pressured kicks, also too, they're easy to pull off.
Obviously, that was a really good one where I can't remember who he hit up. It was like right on the half forward line, coming out of the fence. But yeah, this guy, I know people are going to look at the meters gained and the kicks and all shit, and people are going to go, yeah, how great are players? Like, again, look at what these players do in their entirety, not just cherry pick what you need to justify your fucking comments. Because and I think Grant Thomas actually said it, didn't he, on X?
There's quite a few people have noticed it. So it was Grant's probably the most prominent one, but generally that neutral brigade on X came out a little bit, not savage, but I think it's just really saying, well, I think we all noticed and nobody wanted to say anything about it, but now it's just too late. You've got to. And the thing is, again, like with him and Lockie, is you're equating the cost of what these players are to what they're actually producing. Now, they have their moments, and they should do because they're well compensated, but their glaring cock-ups are becoming more and more glaring and a little bit more snark-inducing, I think, to the supporter base.
I mean, look, with Houston, I don't understand why we picked him up if you're not going to use him in the role that he's good at.
It simply comes down to that.
If the role he's good at doesn't fit into your game plan, then again, why did you pick him up? It's almost like you just sort of went, well, he's loose, let's go get him. It would have been better keeping those picks. I mean, I said last week, if you didn't trade Ginnivan out, if you didn't trade for Schultz, you would have kept that pick in the high teens. If you didn't pick up Houston, so you'd have had another pick there, and you kept also Noble and Joe Richards, this side would be no worse off, but it would also have two picks in the top 20, which potentially could have been guns for the future. This bullshit, this narrative, this kills me. Is like McRae said, I want players, not picks. Okay, great, but you got to get the fucking right players. I kept thinking the movie The Club, when Jack Thompson's talking to, I think it's Alan Castle, the administrator, and they're talking about how they, getting players, and Jack Thompson grabs the badge of Jeff Hayward. He says, but you're getting the wrong bloody ones. Hayward came good, though. But it's like, who has really improved his side that they picked up? Schultz, has he really improved it? I don't think he's really improved it. That's no disrespect to Schultz. It's like you've let Ginnivan go and you've brought Schultz in. Schultz is much better defensively, but Ginnivan's much better offensively. So, and I actually looked at it. We actually had Joe Richards on the fucking list too when we were on the flag. So that was another of the small forwards we had. Joe Richards is playing really well. So I don't think Schultz has really appreciably improved us. I know someone will say, yes, he has. He's done this and that. Yeah, right.
But that's just pure. You're picking moments to justify in your own mind that this was a good thing, because the reality is it's not that great, and that's harder for people to swallow than accept that. We fucked it up.
I don't think Tim Memory was a great pickup, but at least it didn't cost them anything. Conversely, I think if you kept Ginnivan, he could have been doing what Memory's doing anyway. So that's a nothing pick. And then here's the one which was talked about. What's improved them? In the 2023 season, they picked up Tom Mitchell, which really improved them. Improved them fuck of a lot. No one they've picked up since 2023 has really improved them like that. Now, you can just fucking get any players and consolidate with seniority and all that sort of shit, but it's like we pumped, I don't know, 20 games into memory last year. Wouldn't you have rather just pumped those 20 into
West?
or, I mean, he was injured, but, anyone.
No, assuming he wasn't injured.
And
yeah.
I really don't think anyone we've brought in, this is no disrespect to Schultz, like I said, it's the cost. We're always looking at the cost. Has really improved us that we were another premiership shot because of them. The way we were with Mitchell. Mitchell really, and go back to 210 with Jolly and Ball. That they were the difference. Having Mitchell there allowed Pendles and Dacos and, all these mids to now play on the outside and get fed. Whereas now, you're getting Nick trying to do it all and really struggling with it. The goalie, I don't know, I saw he got like about 29 disposals. I saw him really early, but I don't know how damaging he was. What did you think of him?
I didn't think he was too bad. I don't remember looking at the TV.
I don't think he was horrible. He was just
getting angry or anything like that. But I mean, for Degoe, I mean, the last 2 weeks, it's a huge improvement in output from him. So you've got to take that as a positive. I mean, you want him to be accumulating 25 plus possessions on a regular basis. Now he's sort of pushing a little bit higher. He's not the problem at the moment.
No,
but he should be better.
No, I mean, like I said, I don't think he's bad. It's like, I thought at the start he was influential, but as the game went on, he was getting numbers, but he wasn't damaging. On the flip side, you could have thrown McStay in the ruck and put the goalie to full forward. I don't think he would have really damaged us. I don't agree with this Nick going to the forward line. I know people go, oh, he could be a weapon. I don't really see it. I know he kicked 2 goals, but he goes down.
3, didn't he?
2.
Was it? No, it was 3.
Yeah. Or was he going for 3?
He was going for 3 and he missed that.
Yeah, he missed that one from the pocket, where he got the first one. Or was the second one, but he got that one. But there's something, obviously, he's not quite right, because I saw a stat that prior to this game, last year he had 20 unforced errors for the season. Up to last week, he was already up to 15 this year. So there's something not quite right there.
Well, the support's dropping around him as well. And the load's being increased, so you're going to expect more errors out of that.
Yeah.
But you can sort of rationalise it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Really? Can you?
Well, I just said it.
So go back to Schultz, because I forgot this. He gave away 5 free kicks and 150. That's fucking diabolical, regardless of
what was his return, though. How many goals he kicked?
What did he kick? 1.
Well, there you go. That's evens out. That's why we recruited him.
You know what we're like, really?
Who, us? You or me personally? Or
yeah.
We're a couple of crusty old sour and bit of pricks, aren't we?
Well, I'm not sour. So fair. We're like Supergirl.
Which one?
The new one.
The mush face one?
I don't know what mush face means.
Well, the face is all squished up. Do you think he had super speed? She hit a meteorite?
No, because when other Collingwood supporters look at Collingwood, they said the good in them. We said the truth.
Is that a quote from Supergirl?
Yeah, she talks about Superman. She goes, when he looks at people, he sees the good in them. I say the truth.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks. What's her name?
Cara Throats.
Is that what her name is?
No,
that's the Star Wars character, isn't it?
No, it's Battle Stuff. No, Cara Longstocking or something. What was it? Cal Rel? Fucking, to be honest, I don't know. Cara El Zod or something, isn't it?
I don't fucking know.
Does it really matter? How many goals do you think she would have kicked?
6. So you look at that goal kicks. Nick Nagos got 2, Long got 1, West got 1. What do you think of West?
He started well, but he struggled as the game went on. But the thing is, you've got to keep fucking playing him. He showed more in that first fucking probably quarter than any young forward that we've had for a long time.
Yeah. I thought, when you look at his composure, I thought like at times he looked like, just take a moment.
The thing is too, like, he's in the right positions, but the fucking ball delivery was just flat to the top of his head that many times. He was having to stretch back to try and take the mark.
Yeah.
But
that's nothing,
no, it's it's probably like dodging shrapnel on the blitz at times when the ball's coming in.
Willie Hayes.
Look, I still really like him. Did he end up? He kicked one, didn't he?
Kick one.
Yeah, and he
didn't always sort of thread through traffic.
Yeah. Look, he'll have those little moments, but I think there's something about him. He's got pace, because we're never going to see Bobby Hill again, even though he's hanging around before he goes away again. He looks the most likely to have to inject some pace and some X factor into that forward line.
There's another thing too, is with Hayes, West, Buller, Anderson, Long, Parker, who I don't think had a great game again.
No.
But with having those kids in there, I felt like a little bit more energised. It felt like a little bit more driven. The side just really felt stale for most of the year anyway. As you said, McRae defaults to the old bodies.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that really excited me was sort of looking at it and going, it feels like we're up and about in a way that I haven't felt since last year when we were winning regularly.
But I think that's part of being a supporter too, because when you sit there and you wait for selection to come out most weeks, and you can pretty much predict it within a player of what McRae is going to do. He's very, very
predictable.
Predictable is probably the cleanest word. But when you've got that injection of youth and you're seeing what they're capable at that level, it does energise you as a supporter, because when you have those settled senior sides, you probably know how the game is going to pan out, how they're going to play with it. They're doing nothing other than very robotically what they've been instructed to do. Whereas, youth can give you a sense of exuberance around themselves, and it gives you a sense of optimism for the future. You can go, oh, fuck, now I can see why you were drafted or whatever. I'm seeing a sense of it. I'm watching a few more VFL games, and even though half of them were in there this week, you get a sense out of that. There is a couple there that now are starting to look like they've got an AFL future ahead of them, which is it's buoying as a supporter to see that, because we've fucking commented on that many times. You're looking down and you're looking up, you're going, where's it all going? There's no sense to it all at the moment.
Do you think the fact that a few of them had a look in, that's actually energised a few of the guys in the VFL?
Well, I think that's it, because, and again, it's stuff that we've said before, is you can have dominant performances at VFL level and some spud gets in ahead of you. And that must be so demoralising. Well, like an old married couple, you can finish my words. What am I about to say now? You're right. So I think you've got to reward performance and you've got to reward effort, and that really means a spot in the scene. It's not just a fucking cameo spot. They should be given a week or 2, 3 weeks to really show what they're capable of, not just in, out. Like, we'll, for the 4:33 game, we'll have all the predictables come back in this week.
Fucking bring Pendlebury back.
Oh, fuck, what's he ever done?
Yeah. I'm going to say, because I'm going to go on the fucking rampage soon. You pointed this out to me. I didn't see it. But now people were qualifying the loss to Geelong, the smashing the Geelong, because Geelong smashed Brisbane. So it was okay then. You smashed.
Maybe we're not so bad.
People who have pointed this out, you're fucking losers. What you should take from Geelong smashing Brisbane isn't, well, it's okay because Brisbane also got smashed. It's neither us or Brisbane are where we need to fucking be. And we need to get better. Brisbane have started slow the last 2 seasons, and guess what? They won flags. And I don't give a fuck about Brisbane where they're at. They've also got injuries. For us, to people be running around going, oh, we lost by 9 goals. But look, it's not so bad because Brisbane also lost to Geelong. It's a fucking ridiculous get out of jail or attempted get out of jail free card. And same thing here too, is we lost to Sydney and there are people going, oh, well, we pushed the league leaders, so maybe we're not as bad. You fucking lost. You were in a winning position like you were against Hawthorn and you lost.
I think especially in this game is you came out and you fucking told me in that first quarter that you're serious about this game and you're going to fucking win it. And if things would keep progressing in that manner and the way they played and converted a couple, they would have won this comfortably.
Yeah.
The thing is, you can sit there and you can go into games and think, well, we're going to get smashed by 10, 15 goals, whatever. And you can't use that as a justification after the fact, because it all comes down to what happens at that first bounce and what happens going into towards the end of the game dictates how that game is going to pan out, stupid as that sounds. You can have thoughts and you can have opinions, all that sort of thing. But if they go out there, see, and that fucking term, we're now in that phase of Collingwood support where we are the honourable loss makers. And, I could have qualified an honourable loss in this one if we chased Sydney all day and they beat us by a goal or 2 or something like that. But the thing is, we're in a fucking commanding position and we gave it up. Sydney didn't win this game. We lost it.
Yeah.
And we went out there, and when the minute that we decided we were going to lose it, we decided it was going to happen. And the fact that we then chased their tail for the rest of the night and got back within a kick, it's irrelevant at this point. You got to go back to that second quarter. That's where you fucked it. That's where the pooch was screwed, and you chose at that moment to undo all the fucking good work that happened in that first quarter and lost the game there.
Well, I hate all the fucking justification that's gone on, that it's like, oh, well, it's first versus 10, so what did you really think? That's typical of a first versus 10th game. Do you know fucking Brisbane in 2024 at the same time of the year were 11th? Imagine they were running around going, oh, well, we're 11th. This is what you'd expect from us. They never would have gotten anywhere near the fucking flag. They would have gotten nowhere near the finals. You can't carry in an attitude of, well, these are the ladder positions, so that qualifies why we've lost. You should be always looking at it. Even if you're fucking rebuilding like West Coast are and have been stuck there for 5 years, even if you're doing that, what you want to see is a winning culture fucking being built, and you want hunger at all times. So I don't give a fuck if you lost by 10 goals, as long as, like I was thinking, I can see they're trying to get somewhere. And right now, or not right now because this is a good effort, but like previously, I think we've just fucking tread water because that's what everyone's expected of us. And the fucking Collingwood faithful, for the one of a better fucking term, I'm sorry I'm using the F word quite a bit here, this is what we always fucking do. It's always like, let's celebrate Collingwood for being Collingwood. Fuck you. You know, you had a chance to win, as you said. You fucked it. There should be no qualification of it as, well, you know, we pushed them and blah, blah, blah. Same with Geelong. They smashed us. It's not a case of, well, Brisbane got smashed too, so it's okay. It's, you're off the fucking pace. One, losing a game by 9 goals, and two, being in a fucking commanding position and surrendering it. Neither validation for either is fucking any excuse. It should be sent to St Kilda or to one of those other shit clubs who just accept being shit.
And it's become a trend too. Like, you know, Adelaide, Freo, Hawthorn, you could argue in the same manner that we should have won that.
We should have won Hawthorn.
You know, draw doesn't really qualify as a win or a loss. And the same with this game. We're all in commanding positions in those games, and we surrendered that.
Yeah.
And that's a mark of a sign in decline. And I get all that. It doesn't alter the fact, though, that, you know, you could have fucking won those. The world would be a different place today if you'd won those, because we'd be fucking higher up the ladder and probably be full of self-belief. But it's becoming a trend now where we used to be, and I've said it before, we used to be the masters of closing out those closed games. Now we're just a passenger in it.
Yeah.
You know, we've lost a bunch of them in well, not just this year, but, you know, towards later last year as well.
Well, that Fremantle one, that the MCG. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. And anyone who sort of can walk away from those games and go, well, that's what you expect given where we all are. It's like, it's not good enough.
No, pissed off.
I look at Carlton. Carlton's been a pathetic club since the new millennium. People don't, like younger supporters or people not of our vintage, don't fucking realise what a ruthless, accomplishing side they were back in the 70s and 80s. And I've always believed that in the 2000s, when they got hit with the salary cap penalties, and then they just tanked and tanked and tanked, it introduced the worst culture into that club. It introduced a culture that was like, well, it's not all about winning anymore. It's about other rewards. And that's why they're fucking a basket case to this day.
No,
because they have not been able to reverse that.
No, and all they do is look backwards now. Yep. They don't fucking look forward that very far.
And you have a lot of experience with having seen that firsthand.
I've been to a couple of functions. Yeah. I mean, it is just absolutely all about the past. Like, not even a young fucking bloke coming up saying, what does it mean to play for Carlton or anything like that. Just old blokes getting around laughing about the glory days. And that's just permeating that club now.
Yeah.
And it's entrenched in their fucking culture that it's just, they're accepting of where their mediocrity is because we can always talk about the good old days. And you sit there and you look at some of these blokes going, they don't have a lot of fucking time left, these guys. You know, you better record this because if you want to keep living this, it's going to be on videotape. Well, not videotape, digital.
They're in the interesting
old
position
man
where, you know, they'll probably get rid of Wiedering and Cripps. And then they'll be in another 5 years of a rebuild if they get it right.
See, I don't have a problem with that, though.
I don't have a problem with it, but, like, I would have thought prior to us that they would have thought, okay, we're entering flag contention. I kept saying, like, I've been proven wrong, but, like, with that 4-9 of Kerner, Mackay, the defence of Wiedering, you know, and then the midfield of Cripps and Walsh, is like, fuck, they got the Eagles of a really good side. And they're fucked it. Thank you, Carlton. But they don't know if they'll ever get it right again. Because this is the one thing with rebuilds. Obviously, you can go to the bottom of the draft and fuck it all up. Clubs have done it. So you got to be lucky in some of the picks that you fucking take. But you look at someone like Melbourne, which traded out Petrarca, Oliver, and they brought in some youth. And look where the fuck they are. Now, maybe it won't last, but there's some excitement about it, which we have lacked for the most part. Which, like I said, the first time I saw it was this week against Sydney, because we had so many kids in there. They were running around, they were energized. Obviously, they tied. The Steam thing's fucking tragic. It's just horrible.
Fucked.
Yep. But, like, I actually felt watching it, I've got a bit of a buzz back for the first time in about 6 months about this club, because it doesn't feel like we're just walking in. And this is what I talk about, like, with the, we got players, not picks. It's like, but you fucking didn't bring in anyone who really pushed the meter in any way. Or if you did, like you say, Houston, you don't use them in a way. Whereas you look at someone like fucking Geelong, they've unearthed young players in that manner, and Holmes and Humphrey, all these guys. They've gotten really good players in like Cameron Dangerfield, Bailey Smith. I mean, Bailey Smith's a fucking. If you had a choice, everyone's going to take Bailey Smith over there in Houston. I don't think anyone's going to fucking stick with the Houston choice. And then when they speculate, they go after guys like Jack Martin, who's a top 10 fucking pick. They got that Jack Bowers and a little bit of a suspect way from Gold Coast, not on Geelong's behalf, but on Gold Coast offloading. Is they're trying to fill that side with quality. They use, other trades to sort of fill in the gaps, but it's not their mainstays. And it feels like we go after guys thinking, these guys are going to push the meter, but when you look at them, they're not the guys.
No, I think we chase a name more than anything.
I don't know who Lucky Schultz was.
No, well, but I think we want to be seen to be a destination club, and just being us should be enough to attract all these people. They should be knocking on our door, not the other way around. Like if they got Zach Butters at the end of the year, for argument's sake, I would say in the first time since they've chosen to adopt this Geelong model, that they've actually done what Geelong would have done. Everything else has been filler.
But having said that, I'm going to talk about Geelong model. How successful is it? They've won one flag since 2011. So they've recycled.
But they've been in 94 prelims.
And who gives a fuck?
Well, you sell tickets. You make money.
Who made the prelim in 1964?
Two sides.
And that's how people remember prelims.
It's like that old Visa commercial I always love, and I've spoken about it a couple of times. Shows a guy winning the Olympics, and a guy comes second and puts his name up, and it's basically and no one ever remembers who came second, and no one fucking does.
No,
unless you're a trivia buff, you don't care. Second's just first of the losers.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that too. Yeah, so I mean, I really wish this whole fucking side and our supporter base, and we've said this prior to fucking winning the flag. We've been saying this for years. You celebrate Collingwood for just being Collingwood. It's like, well, why would you go above and beyond when people are cheering you for the fuck of it?
And I think just what I was going to get back to and just interject for a second, and I think that puts a lot of players off these days too in coming to us, is because of the extra pressure and attention that you're going to get. You could be paying fucking. I think remember hearing an interview with Heath Shaw, and he said, the best thing about going to the GWS is nobody fucking knew who he was. Even when they were winning games and stuff, he'd walk around, nobody knows who he was. Yeah. Here, you got fucking gutter parasites called journalists fucking traipsing around after every single move, going through fucking rubbish bins. The focus is on you 24/7. Every man with a fucking 4K camera is filming over fucking toilet cubicle walls and stuff. You then add Collingwood in the equation, it's times 10 over the normal sort of player. I think a lot of fucking kids just go, it's just not worth the hassle.
Well, if you look at like a lot of, like Tony Lockett, he went to Sydney to get away. Yeah. Imagine he was at Collingwood, he probably would spontaneously implode.
But the thing is, and you look at it in Formula One, everyone on that fucking grid aspires to go into the top teams. In soccer, everyone aspires to go and play for the Real Madrids or Manchester City or whoever's top of whatever. Everyone wants to be there to be amongst the best. Here we send it's almost viewed as a bit of it's probably a little bit too hard.
Well, someone will go, no, you're just being cynical. Fucking Jack Silvani picks and killed her over Collingwood. What the fuck does that tell you?
He's an idiot.
But he just felt like, he came from Carlton, and I don't know what it's like internally there, but they used to be a great club. And he could have gone to Collingwood, he would have known, being at Carlton. Collingwood is the biggest club in the country, and he would have played in a lot of the losses Carlton suffered at the hands of Collingwood over the last 6-7 years.
He had front row seats.
And you chose fucking St Kilda. What does that tell you? We are not getting these fucking players. I mean, we joked about it last week. Like we'll get Ben King, and he's now being rumoured to be signing a new fucking thing. We always talk the talk, but
if you believe the rumours, Butters is going to Footscray, and who are we left with?
We'll fucking get some 30.
Lachie Neale.
Lachie Neale, there you go. 30.
And look, I have no issue with Lachie Neale coming to us.
But I heard he was going to Melbourne.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you? And that's the thing is we sit there and we talk a talk, but we just don't walk that walk.
No.
And then we'll celebrate some player that we've never heard of before as a massive win. Then we give them 18 months to get used to the game plan.
That's what a crock of shit that is.
But all you're doing is covering over the fact that you fucked it up. Yeah, you made a mistake, and you've got to spin a positive around it.
We've talked about this before. It's like, I got to learn the game plan for fucking 18 months. It's that complex. It's like fucking going to work at NASA, apparently. But you apply it selectively. So Schultz needed to learn it, and Houston needed to learn it. Perryman didn't.
No.
Membry didn't. Tom Mitchell did fine. So it's like, well, maybe the players, if they're not learning it immediately, maybe they're not the sort of players you should be bringing in, or if they're not fitting the game plan, then they're definitely not the players.
It's like what we said before. It's selective justification because it's easier to accept there's a reason for things rather than accept that it's either a mistake or it's not working or it's not as good as what we thought it was going to be.
Big plaudits to Damien Hardwick, who took a fucking media ass clown to task when he was trying to push a fucking story. I like Damien Hardwick when he gets prickly because he just doesn't give a shit. And I've said it before. When I see journalists getting trounced, or so-called journalists, I could not give a fuck. I will always be on the side of the coach. I've seen Ross Lyon do it. Well done to Damien Hardwick because that was fucking just awesome viewing.
Yeah, that was great. There should be more of that. And the thing is, you watch those things, you go, that's fantastic. Now I'm just going to set my timer how long before the AFL finds him for it.
Yeah. And then you get Caroline Wilson and Luke Hodge's confrontation a couple of weeks ago on whatever that shit show they're on is.
No, I think it's called Footy Shit.
Yeah. And well done by Luke Hodge, I've noticed when Caroline Wilson's been on panels like Footy Classified and that, generally the other journal, usually the guy who played football, I'm sorry, that's going to sound sexist, they'll just sort of back down and let her just have her say. And it was good to see one just go, no, fuck it. You were speaking so far out of turn. I'm just going to push back. And I think she even she said, I've never said that, but it was like, that's pretty much in the quotes of what you said exactly.
Those are my words, but that's not what I said.
Yeah, it was just, I was talking about this. I was actually going to bring it here. Like, I've been reading a book I've told you about, The Boys Club by Michael Warner, who's a journalist. If you want to read about what a capricious, corrupt prick of an organisation the AFL is and how petty and whimsical they are, you go read this book. It really just shows how football's not governed by people who have football's best interests at heart. Football's governed by people who have their own interests at heart. And it makes you wonder about certain decisions that have occurred.
Not just in the AFL.
There's an interesting story because I really like Grant Thomas. Grant Thomas, he used to butt heads with Andrew Demetriou, and I can't remember what the issue where he just sort of pushed back against the AFL, but they played Fremantle and they just got murdered in the umpiring. And they said there was footage of Grant Thomas. I can't remember who the assistant coach was. They were just sort of laughing like, how the fuck have they paid that? And then apparently on the flight home, Tony Jones, the Channel 9 media, heard one of the umpires say, so that's what it feels like to win. And there's several other witnesses who attested to this, and they heard this. AFL investigated and found nothing.
Of course.
And that's a common theme in the book. The amount of time stuff's come up and the AFL's investigated and found nothing if it's to their detriment.
The AFL works on profit, brand protection, and the game is somewhere down in the sixth place.
Well, it's funny because they talk about the Melbourne tanking where, according to the interviews, the coach, Dean Bailey, said, yes, we tanked. These are the instructions I was given. I had players who I suddenly told couldn't go on because they were injured, but they'd be fine the rest of the week. And they got this testimony from, I can't remember who the other one was, but it was Bailey and someone else. And the AFL came to the conclusion, yeah, there's been no tanking here. Jesus. So Ben King's not going to be a fucking thing. Oh, sorry, I should ask you, any final thoughts on this?
No, other than the fact that we should have fucking won and won comfortably.
I actually don't think we're that far off the pace if he tweaked things. Now, I don't think we'll win the flag. I think there's sides that are much better than us. And I think consistently we're not going to perform at the best. But if you do look at the games where we've just lost and shit like that, it's like, well, 3 years ago you would have won those. People can say we've got tired legs and why aren't you playing the fucking youth? But you're showing you're in games, but things are breaking down on the systemic level, and that's coming from the coaching and that. Like I said, I think if we put McStay in the ruck when Steen goes down, or even if we put McStay in the ruck in the second quarter, we win that game by 3-4 goals. I think Grundy was allowed to get on top, and then we did nothing until it was too late, and then we were trying to come back. I think what's actually fucking happening right now in the breakdown of the on-field performances is really showing that there's also a breakdown in the message coming from the coaching staff.
Did we touch about this last week? I can't remember. I can't remember what I did 5 minutes ago. But we made, I'm sure last week we made a point about, or maybe this is a discussion we had, that when McRae came to Collingwood, he had Bolts and Lepper around him. He had seniority. You know, you're an untested coach. It's okay to challenge that, and you'd probably take that feedback. Do you think it's gone 180 now that he's surrounding himself with, I've done the hard yards. I'm a premiership coach now. But there are times, I think, if you had a seasoned coach sitting next to you, assistant coach, there's some of the decisions that you persisted with or didn't make would rightly be challenged. And it would force you to think about, am I making the right decisions here? Now, we don't know that because we didn't sit in the box. Maybe they did challenge him and he said, get fucked. I don't know.
The other thing is he opened the message. I from what I've heard, like in 203, Neil Danaher consistently challenged, Terry Danaher consistently challenged Malthouse to the point that he pretty much got excommunicated from the coaching staff. So, and Terry Danaher was the only one to take it to Malthouse after the grand final loss to say, because Malthouse blamed Jason Cloak, and Danaher was like, well, you chose to play him there, so you got to take responsibility. And I heard that in 2009 that the one guy Malthouse listened to was Brad Scott. But toward the end of the year, he got the North Melbourne job, and then he left Collingwood. And that's when things actually, if you go back to 2009, we had a few injuries, but that forced Malthouse to bring some young guys in, and we were doing really, really well. But toward the end of the year, after Brad Scott had gone, Malthouse started bringing all these older players back, and they're all carrying injuries and struggling, and we just lost that momentum. So I don't know if there's someone, if McRae's open to a message, or if there's someone challenging. I don't know if it's too fucking fruitful and harmonious, as they'd say in the club. But I think it does feel a little bit stagnant. It would be good to get someone in there. And look, again, we don't know what the dynamic is. Maybe there are people doing that and he's not listening, or maybe I don't fucking know. But I think it needs some sort of change beyond the scenes.
You've got to be mature enough to accept that a peer's opinion can be better than yours. It makes you a better person. You can't be right all the time. I saw some footage the other day of during the Geelong game of Bucks and Scott sitting there, and they were talking about it, and they weren't like gesticulating or anything like that, but you could tell that whatever Buckley was saying to Scott, he was intently listening to him. And you think, well, fuck, you've been in this position now for about 800 years or something. He's been coach at Geelong. You don't really need someone like Bucks telling you that what's going on. However, maybe what he's saying has fucking weight behind it, and you have to listen and you have to entertain. Now, you can disagree with it and say, well, yep, I've heard you, but we'll still try this. But at least it's just forced you to entertain someone else's opinion. And you may have a fucking, actually, I can't fault that. Let's give it a crack.
I can't remember when you said it, but like Buckley talked about how robust, that was his word, discussion is needed at that level. And like Chris Scott, I think, one of the great things about him as coach is he must be open to that stuff, because if you look at the way Geelong play now compared to the way they played last year, compared to the way they played a few years ago, he's constantly evolving and adapting. So he's getting, either he has enough self-awareness to go, we need to evolve, or he has enough self-awareness to go, we need to evolve, let's get some people in who are going to help me, or he's got enough humility to just bring people in and go, I'm totally going to listen to you, I'll make the final decision, but I totally welcome your input. And to bring someone like Buckley into that coaching staff too, you bring in another, for the want of a better term, another alpha male right into that coaching staff, and you're not feeling threatened, which is awesome. I mean, there may be Scott knows that Bucks is only going to be there short term before he gets to
there's
Tasmania.
that. Look, and I don't qualify any of this by saying I think Buckley was a great coach.
No.
But he's got a fucking elite football IQ. Now, you could be the greatest fucking footballer and actually fucking see the game in no way anyone else ever can. But if you can't interact with your teammates or your team, if you're the coach, then you're a failure as a coach. But he has some amazing, immaculate attributes.
But the one thing with Buckley you've heard it too, is he was so micro and managerial that others couldn't really get their input. And he's not in that position at Geelong.
No.
So he's forced to actually say, I've got to defer to you. And if you look at Buckley, I mean, whenever he speaks, he's a massive football nerd. So I imagine he'd probably go into that position. And I said this a few weeks ago, it looks like he's just enjoying learning from someone else, from experience in a different culture, which is what he should have did.
After Collingwood. Yep.
But
it's not like we have a track record of doing that, though.
Yeah, well, no, not at all. So what? I think I asked you any final thoughts about this game.
No, we're talking about the ruck next week and the next.
Who would play ruck?
Well, I'm reading everyone's talking about Darcy Moore in the ruck.
Oh, I'd do that totally.
Yeah, I think, Darcy Cameron had a boo-boo on his ankle, so he's going to come back in this week and be number one ruck. Who's the West Coast?
But he won't play ruck.
Does this game actually fucking count?
Cameron won't play ruck, though.
Only? What's he going to do?
Oh, he'll be in there.
But he won't play. So I don't think you need to think about it too hard this week. Who is the West Coast ruckman?
Dean Cox.
Dean Cox? It was Lyset or something? Or I don't know.
No, I've got no idea. No, they got some young guys.
I don't think they know either.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if McRae played more at fullback and suddenly Frampton finds himself in the ruck. I think that's likely. I would play. Look, I've said for 7 years, I'd get more the fuck out of defence, but
definitely, I agree. Look, I don't. But my question mark over Moore as a ruckman is what's his durability going to be like? I don't know whether he's the sort of bloke.
Do you think he's still got a hunger for football? Because to me, he doesn't come across as someone who's got a hunger for football.
Do you ever get the impression that he did though? He's pretty laconic. He's he's a smart bloke. Does he need to?
Okay, here's my Hannibal Lecter profile. He grows up in a household with his father, Peter, who plays in the 77, 79, 80, and 81 grand final losses. I don't know if Peter, is one of these guys who just kept talking about it or not, but regardless, you'd be aware that's happened. Your father's played in 4 grand final losses. He's coached one of them. Captain one of them, sorry. And you grow up with this, our family's sort of cursed this burden of we never had the ultimate success. And then he becomes captain, and captains the side to a grand final win in his first year as captain. And does he, after carrying all this emotional weight, potentially, does he sort of just go, I'm relieved of it. I don't have that burning hunger anymore that I had to get here?
Well, you saw, and I've referenced this after that climb the steps, Stocko or whatever it is, just how fucking shattered he was after they won the prelim in 23. And he's just bemoaning having to get up again and do it again next week and all that sort of thing. And I think that became part of the theme of the 24 season, is that you climb the mountain, it's very difficult to climb it again, especially when you're wearing a Collingwood jumper, it seems. Whether that's now just become part of his... Look, at the end of the day, his fucking family's worth a packet with all the mining work they do overseas and all that sort of stuff. And
mine work.
If you're playing football for a living and you want to finish, relatively fucking without gnarled fingers and hands and, fucking being in pain for the next 20 years of your life, maybe you would take the foot off the pedal a little bit going, well, my future's secure no matter what. I'm doing this for the love of it now and all that sort of thing. But when it's over, my career potentially is mapped out already. I'll just join Dad and dig holes and pick up gold and be a millionaire.
Because if you look at any sport, there are, you get the Novak Djokovic's and the Nadals and the Federers who just keep getting there. But there's plenty of players who don't. Like, there's plenty of athletes who get to the top, win it, and then they just massively fall away because they lose that burning desire to do the preparation, the diet, whatever it takes.
I had this discussion with my son in the car after his footy game today about.
Is he giving that up?
No. It's about the impact that desire has on players. Desire to win is a great motivational force. And when you're motivated to do something, you tend to do something at 10, 20, 30% greater than the people around you, because you just don't want to be beaten. You just want to be the best in that moment. It's like, and I said to him, it's like, you can win the hard ball, you can step aside your opponent, and you can kick the ball down the line. Now, most players will just sit there and go, well, I've done enough. I've done my part. It's all up to you. I said, or you can fucking get on your bike and just go down and maybe you can impact that contest. Maybe the ball's going to spill from that kick. Maybe it's going to hit the ground. Maybe you can go down and help a teammate out. That's what desire does. It motivates you to do that extra part. And if you lose that, I think, then you just become a player. That you come out and you're just satisfied to do your role. And I think, it's like the Pendleburys of this world. They just and the Knicks, they just have no stop point for that desire to want to be the best out there.
I was considering this the other day. Nathan Buckley's autobiography, All I Can Be, he talks about arriving at Collingwood, and I've spoken about this before, but he talks about arriving at Collingwood in 1994, and he felt there was a stagnancy about the place. He felt like these guys have climbed the mountain in 1990, and some of them just don't want to go back again. And then there's a little snippet from Craig Kelly, who's his manager, who said, what we should have done is traded judiciously to re-energise the club. So that was 1990. Now, the thing I find really fucking funny is that attitude, I think, has cost us a couple of times. Coming out of 2010 flag and 2011 grand final, I think Buckley had that in his mindset of these guys hungry enough to go again, which is why he started getting rid of the Hushaws and the Dale Thomases and these guys. And that really cost us because under Malthouse, I think they won in 10 and then they finished on top in 11. So they're obviously hungry under Malthouse. Why they suddenly lose it under Buckley? And then if you go forward to 2023 when Kelly's now CEO and they're trading out Ginnivan and that, it's like I wonder if that has actually been a motivator as to what their decisions have been. I mean, the Ginnivan thing, I think I might have mentioned it last week. To win a flag with a team, you go, fuck, this is forever. Oh, you're going to Hawthorn. I reckon that would be demoralising. We've talked about how, like, Mychik going to Melbourne and, you sort of talked about, like, Maynard having this sort of, like, oh, it's really sad and all that. Well, how do they feel about losing a teammate 12 seconds after they won the fucking flag? I find that really, really odd. From Ashton Prison, Geelong is still a good side with an excellent coach. We will have ups and more downs this year. Take any win we can get. But ultimately, we need young draft talent to come in. We end the top 5-8 pick this year. Go after UFA, not Butters or King types. We'll give a top 10 pick away for fucking Lachie Neale.
But with Butters though, Neil's relevant. But with Butters, if we said, okay, well, here's $2 million a year. If Port then matched that, it then has to become a case of exchanging picks to try and.
So it has to be a trade.
So we're at a hiding of. We can still have that early pick and get Butters together. So I don't necessarily agree with the tail end of that. I think you should go after Butters as much as you possibly can and complement Butters and Nick with a fucking pick 8 or whatever it is we end up with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Butters is the right guy. I would prioritise someone like a Tom Mitchell, Luke Ball,
inside.
Yeah, because I think that's going to feed a lot of players. Now, look, I'm not going to complain if you get Butters, but I think they really need to be honest about what they need in that side. This is like, we've talked about it before, is they should have prioritised replacing Nathan Murphy in 2023, and they've never done it. They've never replaced that position.
Well, they don't need to. They look at it at training and he's still out there every time.
Well, maybe they do look at it and go, well, Reece McInnes is going to come up and all, and we had Charlie Dean at that stage, but I would have thought getting someone established in, like Hawthorn did with Battle and Brass, would have been the priority. And then if someone like a Reece McInnes came up, that's a fucking nice problem to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than have 12 fucking half-forward flankers. Vern Fenton, 863. Can't see finals being a reality this year. Time to throw the kids in and give them a taste. I've been saying that for fucking 2 years. Bernard Parsons, we need changes. Sly, chairman of the selectors. Spook, chairman of the cheer squad. Great round.
I read that. I thought, what the fuck does the chairman of the cheer squad do?
I think he just doesn't want you near the club. This is not a boating accident. Hellenic Pies. Bucks for sure had something to do with our tactics. I imagine that's against Geelong. End of day 67. Sly, are you the character from the PlayStation game Sly Raccoon? Yes, I am. Spoof. I meant Spook.
Can you see his... Yeah. How many pixels you got?
Prepare for Voss to join Fly and Collingwood next year. What would you say if that happens?
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
I love the Rant. Can I subscribe? Totally. I actually wouldn't mind Voss coming in if he has something to offer the midfielders now, because he was a gun. I don't know. Like some guys obviously are really good at just being assistant coaches, which we talked about earlier. I don't know how to pronounce this. Jeff Oinoy or Jeff Oinoy. Reevy Athletic versus football debate. It's well discussed and known now. Derek Hine, who, yes, also had misses, wanted Logan Morris for his footy brain. Club and other coaches said he wasn't tall or athletic enough. 2 flags later, a key forward. It's funny that the first time that it seems Derek Hine insisted on the key forward, they overruled him. What a club. What a fucking club. 35 no Nick. I'd send Dan Houston back to port as steak knives in the butt is deal. I'll drive him to the airport.
Yeah, okay. Can we get that in writing?
Yeah. Maybe we could sell the idea to Houston and Port by citing how well Jackson Gunston has gone twice going back to Hawthorn. Oh, my God. This is all genius. I'll definitely do this. At this point, I see Hawthorn go down to Melbourne.
Yeah, wasn't it terrible?
Yeah.
Maybe that justifies our draw.
Yeah. I mean, Melbourne only beat it by like 9 goals. Actually, I've said this to my bosses or a supporter. I said years ago, is I think you've come up 1 year too early. You would have been good with another top 10 pick in there, and obviously Will Day. I think they're really, really well coached. But when I look at their side, I just don't, outside of maybe that Nick Watson, I don't see like any freakish top 5, and they feel like a Collingwood 2002. And then they're relying on Jack Gunston at 46 to be their key. And he's been awesome, but they're relying on that, which is a message for us too. Hellenic Pie, a big no from me about the Golden 10 next week on the ground.
Do you think the club will listen to him?
No.
No.
There's been a bit of, like, Tony Jones went pretty hard on it. Like, if you play Pendles, you probably would have won.
No, so, I mean, you could be right, you could be wrong.
It could be crazy.
You just don't know.
Oh, it's true. I mean, you don't know. I mean, Pendles might have played and just had a real shit game.
Or he could have gone out there and done his ACL.
Totally. Escars, it's not desire, it's system. Some team systems suit other team systems. It's not that we're shit, it's just wrong system suits our system. Jeff Oinoy, it's a bit of both, mate. The system definitively stacks up and has against good teams. The desire to actually play 100% and risk injury is not there for players like Lipinski and Crane, although they haven't been totally shit this year. I mean, I sort of disagree with this because if our system didn't stack up against Geelong's, then they would be smashing us every fucking time. But since 2022, they've been pretty close games, and we've swapped pretty much win for win with them. So, I just think they planned a lot better last week, and we were just totally at a loss. Magpie Army Chronicles. Lipper was a Bulldogs reject, slow and weak, who played 3 good games last year when the whole team was firing. Should be one of the first dropped when the rebuild begins, but Fly won't have a chance to rebuild because we'll be in contention for a wild card all year. So Lipper plays every game with his elite running patterns and laser inside 50 passes. Yeah, I think he's totally right.
I can't disagree.
What are you tipping for the West Coast game?
Have we got the results for how West Coast went? No, it's actually probably 1 or 2 quarters into it. If we don't win this by about 100 points, there's something wrong, isn't there?
It'll be an interesting game. Celebrate Pendles. You can see him doing the calf in the first minute.
Probably through the banner.
Yeah. I actually saw someone on Facebook say it's not fair because Pendles has been played as sub, and so he's got on a break when the other guys who had records like Harvey and that didn't get a break. What would you say to that?
What was the question again, sorry?
This guy, I can't remember what his name was. I think it was Supreme Dickwad. He was just saying Pendlebury has had the advantage of being able to play a sub in games, whereas players in the past who've got the 400 games like Kevin Bartlett and those sort of guys, and Michael Tuck and Boomer Harvey didn't get that luxury.
Oh, I think you can only equate any sort of logic with that against how the game is played during your era. There's no way. Like if you strapped a GPS onto Bartlett or anything like that, would he have been running 25 Ks?
No. And he would have got to rest in the forward line in an era that the forwards didn't push back to.
So you've got to judge everything on its, at the time. I don't think you can compare.
No.
The reality is he's been a stalwart. He's been a high performer for this whole time. He's played 433 games because he's fucking good at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just brilliant preparation. Yeah, I found that ridiculous for the reasons you say. I mean, it's just totally different era. But I'm not disrespecting Kevin Bartlett because he was a brilliant player, but he was also playing in an era where if he sat on the bench, you could be there for 70, 80, 90. You could be the whole game. Damien Marcos played his first game entirely on the bench. Guys would rest in the forward pocket.
Didn't Cameron Mooney get a premiership at the North for sitting on the bench the whole game?
Yeah, I think pretty much. Any final thoughts about Collingwood, this rant, or the rain?
No, it's fucking monsoon territory at the moment. No, it's just bitterly disappointed. I was pretty angry after the game, not for any other reason that it was just a pissed away opportunity. I get all the fucking commentary about, it was good to get close and all that sort of stuff. But I can understand why people say it. Maybe not. But it was just fucking. It was just that stuck in your craw for a while afterwards. You just went through and you were analysing everything, and then you start reading people's reactions and the justification for it. That made me angrier as well. Yeah. It's just like fuck, just be pissed off. I think fucking internally the club should be pissed off with that fucking loss. Every player out there should be pissed off, maybe except Steen. Well, he's got to be pissed off for another reason. And for fuck's sake, come up with another medical procedure that means these poor pricks don't have to fucking sit out a year.
Yeah, look, I understand the agree. I mean, it's anyone who walks away from the loss and says, oh, well, we got close, or they're on top, or we're not. And it's like you just make an excuse for not winning. That's all it is. And I don't give a fuck if there's any credence to the excuse, but it's still an excuse. I've quoted the movie before. There's a movie with James Woods and I can't remember who the other actor was. I'm thinking Robert Downey Jr., but I could have that wrong. Called Fighting Justice, where James Woods played a lawyer. And it's a typical sort of 80s movie. But I just remember this one quote where he said, a good fight is a fight you win. That's all it comes down to. Anything else is a fucking failure. You don't think that fucking people like Nadal and Djokovic and Federer, Muhammad Ali, who the fuck you want to go to, you don't think they walked away from losses thinking, well, I got close. So fuck that. That's a shit attitude. So fucking change your attitude, especially you.
I imagine they must come home to their wives and say, come second again. Who's the man?
A lot of people go home to their wives and go, look, I can't get it at a wreck, but I tried.
I think in tennis, they just come home with a paycheck.
But yeah, look, you should aim to win every single fucking time. And I don't give a fuck if you are 18th like West Coast and you're playing the top team, you should still be going out there and going, we're going to fucking win this.
You put yourself in the position to look like you're going to comfortably win. You've got every right to be fucked off.
Imagine Melbourne might drop away, but imagine Melbourne at the start of the year said, well, we've lost Petrarch, we've lost Oliver.
Let's just give up.
Yeah, let's just, it's just a developmental year. Let's just see how it goes. Where the fuck would they be now? Attitude is fucking everything. I don't sound like a fucking self-help coach.
Do you know once I was told that you can't win a premiership every year? And when you hear a statement like that, you go, well, is that how 17 other clubs approach the year? I don't think we're good enough. Let's just fucking go out there and, kick the ball around, have a few laughs and stuff. Every fucking sporting entity at the start of any season thinks that they're a chance to win. No one goes in there going, let's just aim to be second and be happy. You go out to fucking win. You start a game, you go out to win. Doesn't always go your way and things happen, but whatever. But if you put yourself into a winning position, you should fucking do everything in your power to obviously go on with that and win.
Well, we were talking about hunger and desire before, and I think a huge motivator behind hunger and desire would be a fucking absolute loathing of losing. Be people walking like, I fucking never want to experience that again. Not like, oh, well, they were better than us, or they're higher in the ladder, or whatever the fucking excuse. Or even like, oh, we lost steam. It's like, yeah, that was tragic, but hey, if you're going to drop your head because any player's gone down, then you are going to fucking lose. Someone has to step up, not just sort of go, oh, well, they're the circumstances and that's what they are. So bad luck for us.
If there's one thing that Indiana Jones taught us is you can lose today. It doesn't mean you have to like it.
I don't think Indiana Jones taught us that. It was the guy in the hat.
It was the guy in the hat.
Yeah, that's a really.
But he was a proto. He was a proto Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he was. Oh yeah. Any final thoughts?
No. Oh, well, we should talk about SP433, shouldn't we?
Why?
Well, isn't that what everyone does?
Didn't we talk about it?
Well done, Scott. Yep, fantastic effort.
We talked about
Just fucking win the game.
Just win the game.
Yep.
We'll talk about it. Check out a new podcast, Inside the Nest, with Turtle, Hatters, and Andreas. In their first episode, they spoke to Paul Williams, Collingwood legend and Sydney Premiership player.
Cool. Didn't he write Rainbow Connection?
I don't know. Why would you listen to Paul Williams, the musician?
Because he's fucking good.
Yeah, that's what he said about John Denver.
Do you know he wrote the Carpenters? One of their big. I can't fucking remember who it is. But it was an ad jingle for a bank in America.
I went to Spook's place once, and his record cabinet just full of Donnie and Marie.
What's wrong with that?
Subscribe, like, leave a comment, all that sort of stuff, and we'll see you
at the next Donnie and Marie concert.
Later. You've been shooting well.
Yeah. That's what my wife said.
Just leave it there. That'll do.